California sheepshead is a fish that changed their gender. Often it's a large group of females with one male. The male looks specifically different, and when the male dies, the biggest, baddest female fish fight it out to be the next male. This was actually really early on into being here at the aquarium. I came in one day and they asked me to get in and pull out one of the sheepshead that was trying to become the next male, but he was the one that was getting picked on. I then put him in one of the side tanks, and then for over the next month or so, I watched him develop his black bands. The fact that I was the person that pulled this fish out and then got to watch it for the next couple of months was just a really significant thing of I don't think they have any idea how powerful this actually is to me. I got to watch it develop its black bands and become a male fish, and then released into the ocean to live out its life. I've always loved scuba diving. I've been diving for a really long time, but it's always been on the back burner. I only got 2 weeks of vacation every year, and I was definitely the type of person that everywhere I went, if I could go diving there, I went diving. But it can be really scary to be on a boat with 6 strangers. They may or may not be queer and trans friendly, and I don't want that to keep me from diving. I got into diving before I transitioned, but I've talked to lots of my friends who've been like, oh, I've never even thought about scuba diving because I don't want to get into a bathing suit in front of a bunch of strangers that are not going to ask my pronouns, that are not going to respect my body. I've often been the only queer person on a boat, almost always the only trans person on a boat. Getting out of your head is part of what's really magical about diving, and when I'm in a situation like that, it's harder for me to get out of my head because I'm concerned about, am I actually safe? I don't see myself as a man. I know that I have an M on my license, I check that box, and I pass in the world that way, but for me, I'm trans. And there are places sometimes where I go where people don't see me as trans. And so I have the luxury of being safe in those spaces in ways that other people don't. The issue is that I'm still in my head about it. I still think about if there's an accident on this dive boat, am I gonna be treated with respect? Is my body gonna be treated with respect? The few times that I've gone diving with other queer and trans community, it's felt different. And it's felt like I'm bringing my whole self to this situation as opposed to leaving part of me on the dock. The question is, how do I really modify these spaces so my community feels welcome and feels safe? Narwhal Divers is an inclusive, accessible, and affirming scuba diving business for all. I'm in the very beginning of making this all a reality, but I'm really trying to create spaces that anybody that is feeling left out of the visible dive community can feel safe coming to learn. I want queer and trans people to be able to experience that joy of scuba diving, and that is really about getting out of your head and being able to have this otherworldly experience. And if you're so in your head about being queer, being trans, and whether I'm safe or not, then you're missing out on an aspect of that. I'm not trying to say screw the dive community, because the dive community is great and there's a lot of really great people in it. I think there's an opportunity to make sure that we're being even more inclusive and creating equity around people who have access to scuba diving. I want to be a resource and an ally to everyone who wants to dive.
You're going to take just one big step into the water, okay? It looks like this.
I've always felt like the water was an inclusive space, like size doesn't matter as much, ability doesn't matter as much. In the water, we're all pretty equal. And how cool that is to be able to bring something so beautiful like diving and so healing to my community that could really use some healing. Until the past year, I didn't know really any other trans divers. I really want to find those people that have never even thought about it, and now they might. I want to see more people like me when I go diving. If you don't see trans people as instructors or as divers, you don't see yourself in that. And so I think part of it is about me being seen and saying to other people, I see you, come be part of this with me.